It's time now for another jam session, and we're joined by John Teti from the AV Club. But before we get into jam session, I want to ask you, you went and actually saw the set for The Price is Right out in LA.
We had such a day at it was amazing. It's been a lifelong dream of mine. We went behind the scenes of The Price is Right. We dedicated a whole episode to it. Oh, this is from a past trip to The Price is Right, so you can see what a dedicated fan I am. But I went officially now as part of the show, and we learned what it takes to be a contestant to get up on stage. We learned how the prizes are wheeled in and out. It was a fun day.
How heavy is the wheel?
That's what I was going to ask.
Really?
It's my first question.
It's a great question because it's heavier than you think. Oh, is this? Yeah, there's me spinning it. I only managed to get
Drew Carey,
50,
and
20.
Bob Barker was the original,
right? 20, I could only manage 20. Oh, this is so humiliating. And I think I got 30 on the second spin. It is heavy. Yeah. That thing, you grab it and you can feel immediately, ooh, this is more than I thought it was going to be. And then you just got to use your whole body to get
So how do you feel
going.
as Drew Carey as the host now who's been doing it for a couple seasons?
I think Drew Carey is great. He came out the first year and he was a little nervous, a little shaky, but my goodness, who wouldn't be, right? Bob Barker had been doing it for some 36 years, but I think he's made the show his own, and they've produced the show around him really beautifully so that it's a fun party that sort of revolves around Drew.
Well, if you want to hear, come on down and be the next guy I meet Drew Carey. The Price is Right is coming to Rosemont in November.
That's so exciting.
What do we need to do to get noticed by the producers to get on stage?
Yeah, so the producers are looking for you. They're basically looking for you plus, right? So you should be yourself, but you should be like the most up and enthusiastic version of yourself, because they don't want you to get on stage and just be a dud and just sort of go through the motions up there. They want you to be having the time of your life, and they want everybody in the crowd to be able to tell you're having the time of your life.
Yeah, and that actually works. When you turn it on, it feels like everyone in that studio is having the time of their life.
For sure. And I remember people used to dress up. Do they still write things on their T-shirts and everything?
They do the T-shirts. It seems like the tradition now on Price is Right is you have the T-shirts paying tribute to Drew or to George Gray, the announcer, or whoever. And on Let's Make a Deal, then you have the crazy costumes. And that's sort of the cultures of these two game shows.
All right. Well, the Price is Right. The time is right now for Jam Session. And we're going to talk about those Real Housewives of Atlanta, NeNe Leakes and Kim Zolciak from the Real Housewives of Atlanta. They're at it again. This time, NeNe claims that Kim and her daughter, Brielle, are racist after Brielle made a social media post saying that NeNe's house is infested with cockroaches. It's kind of interesting. NeNe took it right to race. I thought these two were friends. I watched the show casually, not every episode.
Don't lie, casually. Okay, you're binging.
I watched it a little bit. I just don't get it. I feel like, is this pumping up the show for ratings to say, hey, we're beefing, call her racist, the other one hates them, but they're friends? Or does this make people watch? Is this a ploy?
I don't know. They're both so kooky. I can't tell. I feel like sometimes the beef is real. I know this is your favorite show, John. What do you think?
Well, I mean, look, clearly this is publicity, but I'm fascinated by this move of calling the cockroach remark racist. I feel like it's almost racist in itself to call it racist,
right? Cockroaches aren't saying. I don't associate cockroaches being at home to a black home.
No,
I think you got cockroaches in your home.
Well, how did it become a race thing? Roaches transcend all gender, race, creed.
Yeah, like you were telling me when you came in, you said you have cockroaches all over the place.
They're
everywhere in your home.
Ants.
That's disgusting. I'm never coming over.
We got it all. They don't discriminate. Yeah, I think it's definitely a ploy. All right, well, let's keep it moving because I think that one's pretty obvious. Movie mogul Harvey Weinstein is one of the most powerful men in Hollywood. He's under fire for alleged sexual harassment of several women over the decades. Some of those women that have come forward are celebrities like Ashley Judd and Rose McGowan. Weinstein has subsequently stepped down from his company. So it turns out the casting couch isn't a myth, guys. I mean, this is,
yikes.
It was really frightening to read. It wasn't along the lines of Bill Cosby stuff. That was much worse. But it had a lot of the same connect the dots feel to it. A guy with power who's exercising that power over women. It was a very uncomfortable read, and hopefully serious actions being taken. I would not like to see him return to his company.
Yeah, and multiple allegations. I mean, these two of the celebrities that came out were those women, Rose McGowan and Ashley. But there's a ton of, I think there was 11 other women that came forward and have said stuff now. So where there's smoke, there's fire.
It's been a flood of women, and you were talking earlier, Danielle, about sexism being endemic, and I feel like now we're seeing, this has been the chatter in Hollywood for years and years. People are coming out and saying that, and it just makes you wonder, well, why did it take so long then for us to connect these dots and to say, hey, this guy's not conducting himself in a way any human being should act?
I think we saw with Bill Cosby, it wasn't socially acceptable for women to come out and say it. Everyone thought, they're lying, and now I think it's more accepted.
Yeah, and it feels like you've fallen for the head fake with Harvey in terms of he was a big proponent for women's rights. He the documentaries geared towards them. He aligned himself very closely as a donor to Hillary Clinton's campaign. She embraced him. So in a lot of ways, like, this wouldn't be the guy, but it was the worst kept secret in Hollywood, where it's like everyone knew this, the people who were employees under his company, you know, other actors and actresses. It's just a shame because this is how these things gain steam. These guys get away with it, and then they continue to do it because they have the power, because women are afraid to speak up, because they want to get jobs.
Totally. And I mean, when I lived in LA and I was in Hollywood, everyone would say there's no barrier of entry here. And so because there's so much power, there's no repercussions.
It's a really interesting comment. I think we got to keep it moving. I could talk about this one for a long time.
We have a lot today.
Louisville University recently announced a big $160 million deal with Adidas. The money was supposed to go to the school and the students, but it turns out that 98% of that $160 million is going right into the pockets of their suspended head basketball coach, Rick Pitino. I mean, college athletics are just laughable at this point. Pitino was suspended last month for alleged corruption, but the details of his contract allow him to still collect a lot of money, clearly, guys.
Look, I love my Adidas. Can I say as much? We're both rocking pretty cool.
Yes.
We got a good sneaker game going on today. We had the story about the Wicker Park Adidas store. Can't wait to head out there. But when are these sneaker companies, these big athletic companies, going to exert some of their influence to I look at this and I say, why didn't more of that money go to the students? You know, whether it's directly, I think they should be paid, or indirectly through academic programs. It just doesn't make sense to me, and I feel like we have to hold Adidas a little responsible for this. Follow your money.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Jordan actually explained this to me earlier because I was super confused. I feel like you have to tell everybody.
Yeah, there's a timeline to Rick Pitino and his terrible acts, and college sports in general are tainted. But let's go through the timeline of Rick Pitino and his missteps. He had an affair with one of the strength coach's wives, where the strength coach was actually standing out front to block a closed-down restaurant for anybody gaining entry while he had a tryst with that man's wife.
Wow.
He paid for an abortion for that woman after she got pregnant. The woman tried to extort him. He had to out the whole situation. Okay, you dodged the bullet there. You stay in place.
How chivalrous of him to pay for the abortion.
I know, what a gentleman.
Yeah.
So then next, a couple years later, to get recruits and to lure them in, he has an assistant coach set up a stripper prostitution ring for high school recruits to come in, where they fund these strippers to come dance for kids. Kids that the parents are entrusting to that university. Okay, you dodged that bullet. Well, then you put $100K in a potential recruit's pocket, and then finally you go, oh, moral police.
Oh my
This is too much, Rick Pitino. You cannot stay at this university. Oh, by the way, the football coach, he was fired from his last job for having an affair with a college student who was an intern at that university, got caught on a motorcycle with him, got in a motorcycle accident, and the tryst came out with that one. That's the football coach.
I feel grimy listening to this.
I know, it makes you feel dirty.
A lot going on with college
and
sports.
And the breaking point was the money.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Right?
A lot that they need to clean up there.
That's a lot. That's crazy.
Yeah, a lot going on. And I was a former college athlete.
Yeah.